you heard. We'll start as usual with the broadcast section. We'll do the dailies after that. And we'll start with Ian Bolton from Sky Sports News.
Hello, Brendan. How are things with you?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Ian. Thank you.
Good. Jamie Vardy's posted a photo of himself and Rebecca on social media saying recovering well. Of course, he had surgery last weekend. Always interested in getting your take on things. Look, how pleased are you with the way things have gone, and how's it looking going forward?
Yeah, well, Jimmy's he's what 6 days post-operation, so yeah, he's haven't been sore initially after the operation. I was seeing him afterwards after training in the gym today, so he's working very well, good mobility, starting to run. So he's progressing really well. So we're on schedule to hit the 9 o'clock.
And that schedule would include him training next week? Is that still the plan?
Well, we'll see. Yeah, we were looking at hopefully to get him training upwards towards 10 days. So yeah, he's on course for that.
Okay, that's very positive. How are things with Wilfred Ndidi? Of course, he came off against Everton in midweek. You said he was feeling his hamstring. What's the news on that front?
Yeah, he's just a slight tear, so he will be probably a week to 10 days, which is unfortunate. But sometimes the hamstrings can be much longer than that. So thankfully it's probably the lowest grade to get, and he should be back very soon.
And Johnny Evans had some blurred vision. How are things with him?
Yeah, no, Johnny's fine. He's been an ongoing issue with him for a little while, but he will be fine.
Okay, that's good. Everybody else okay?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, listen, what does the problem with Wilfred Ndidi mean in terms of possibly allowing Hamza Chowdhury to depart? Steve Bruce at Newcastle today has said that he does like him.
Yeah, I've spoken to Steve on Hamza. So yeah, I think for me it's a case of what we've always felt that we needed another more attacking player in. So yeah, so that's something that if we can do that, then that may well give the possibility for Hamza to go out. Otherwise, we can't afford to lose anyone. We can't get anyone in.
And how far down the road are you in terms of getting someone in?
Well, there's been discussions, but of course it'll be a big weekend to see if we can do that before Monday now. So, but yeah, we'll see how it goes over the weekend.
Are you optimistic?
Yeah, it is what it is. We want to get the player in. If we can get it, great. If not, we go with the squad that we have.
And just update us with Demarai Gray. Bayer Leverkusen are saying they are confident. Is that something that you are thinking is going to happen, or are there still other options available?
Well, I spoke to John this morning, our director of football, and I know there's not a lot really to add to that. There's been negotiations, but nothing more than that at the moment.
Do you get the sense that things are a long way apart with Bayern, or are they coming together?
I think I just said to you that I can give you no more than there's been negotiations. I don't, I'm not involved in that side of it. So how far or close, I haven't got a clue, to be honest.
Okay, look, you're unbeaten in 7 in the Premier League. You won 4 of those. A couple of FA Cup wins in that run as well. But without Jamie Vardy, how big a test is this for your squad?
The same test as we've had all season when we've had players missing. We've Jamie is a top class player, so is Wilf, but we've managed to get really good results consistently over the course of the season. So you just have to, as a coach or manager, you have to find the way to get the result, and obviously very important for us is the performance level. So in midweek, we performed very well, and we look to take that performance level into our next game.
And is what happened in midweek an example of, your ability to do things without Jamie Vardy?
Well, as I said, if you shine a light on over the course of the season, we've had games where we have important players for us that have been missing consistently. It's only really been probably up until the last week or so where we've haven't had that. But yeah, we trust the squad. We of course, you miss someone of Jamie's ability and the strengths that he has, which would of course which would help any team, and in particular ourselves. But as I said, I thought Ayo did very well during the week. We've got Kells there in the backdrop as well, who can come into the game, and like I say, it's a collective effort for us to put in the level of performance that can see us win games.
Leeds came up with West Brom and Fulham. The other two have found life in the Premier League difficult. At the halfway stage, Leeds have twice the number of points that Fulham have got. What set Leeds apart from those other two, do you think?
Well, I think you'll see at the end of the season, because I think Fulham have done very well of late. Once Scott's been able to get the players in that he needed to get in, and then mould them all together and find a way of working with them, I think they've done very well. Sam's just gone in at West Brom, so it takes that little bit of time to have that influence on the team. But there's not too many in the current situation that they're in. Do you have anyone better than Sam that can go in and galvanise them? So you'll see where they are at the end of the season. In terms of Leeds, they've been outstanding. I'm a huge admirer of the coach. The team have played very clearly the way they want to play in every game. They want to attack the game. They have good mobility. They want to create goals. They want to score goals, and they play without any fear. So that has got them some really positive results. It's got them some results where they've lost heavily. But either way, they've been a fantastic team, and they've been a real credit to the club.
Brendan, thank you. Wish you well. Good luck.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to Naz from PLP, please.
Hi, Brendan. You okay?
Okay, Naz.
Brendan, how much are you seeing your fairly young squad mature this season? Because it's a fantastic run, and some of those young players are really coming into their own, and we're seeing mature performances week in, week out, aren't we?
Yeah, I think it's what you expect. The team's evolving, gaining experience all the time, and it's not always through the winning. We've after the Everton game where we lost, it's important that you go away, you look at that failure in the game, learn from it, and then you look to then win consistently. And it's a great credit to the players that they have that open-mindedness to in order to learn and develop and be better. The beauty of the squad is that they have no ego, so they want to work hard, they want to learn, and they want to improve. And I think you can see that in the level of the performance. And like I say, their authority in the game is getting better all the time.
Ian mentioned Jamie being out, but I wanted to talk about, you mentioned Iosi. I thought the other night he put in a real shift and did all the things that strikers have to do, but those sort of ugly things that strikers do that go unnoticed, didn't he?
Yeah, he was very good in the game. I think in big games like that, there's not going to ever be too many chances in it, which there wasn't for either side, and then you're just waiting for a moment. And unfortunately for Ayo, that moment didn't quite fall for him. However, what I always ask is for everyone in the team to give their all and intensity in the game. And some of his football was very, very good. He just never had any chances dropped to him. So, but yeah, I thought he did really well in the game.
Obviously, the calculator's been out. You've spent every week in the top 6 of the division, and you've got a real foothold in the top 4. People talk about inconsistencies. Your team is riding the schedule and riding that roller coaster very well, aren't they, at the moment?
Well, we just tried to adapt. That was it was difficult for us last March whenever COVID kicked in and we came back. We had interruptions with players being out injured. hopefully what we've learned and what I've learned is how we can cope with that better and find ways to do that, which we've tried to show this season. So yeah, it's a credit to the staff and the players up until this point. We've been able to cope with various interruptions that we've had, and we've just tried to see the positive in it and take that positivity into every game.
You've mentioned already the last few days of the window. If there isn't sort of any movement in, I'm presuming you're quite happy with the squad you've got. If it is as is, come Tuesday, Wednesday next week.
Yeah, I think our notion is always to improve. Now, that's something that has to be constant. You have to constantly look to improve. But if you can't do it, I know the club have given me incredible support since I've been in here. So if we can't do it, it'll be because of availability. I've said before that economically it is tough for clubs, but we've always found a way here. But I just think it's purely will be down to availability. Obviously, Dennis being injured was a blow for us, so it took away that extra attacking player, and of course that leaves a gap for us, and that we would like to do. My first look is within our youth, and we don't have anyone there at the moment yet to step in and for us. So you then have to look to the loan market or to buy someone. But if that player's not available, then you can't do it.
I'm going to probably dig a hole for myself here, but Leeds score and concede plenty of goals. Your team scores plenty of goals. We're guaranteed a thriller, aren't we, when your sides meet?
I think both teams will go into the game with a positive attitude. Both teams want to create goals and score goals. But fundamentally, for us, we know that in order to attack well, we have to defend well. And when you play against a team like Leeds, you know that you're going to have no ego in the game. You're going to have to run. You're going to have to defend well and take the opportunities when they come. Brilliant. So let's hope it's a good game.
Thank you, Brendan. Best of luck for the weekend.
Thanks, Naz. Thank you.
Thank you, Naz. Ian Stringer, please. BBC Radio Leicester.
Hi, Brendan.
Afternoon, Ian.
Just clarification, because we had a few technical problems at the top of the press conference. Jamie Vardy is not available for the weekend and will not be in the squad. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct.
But have you an earmarked game now that, as you said, I think you said, forgive me, we were struggling to hear. I think you said he was 6 days post-op. Has that allowed your medical staff now to earmark a game?
Not as of yet. We're just, looking closely at his rehabilitation from it. Like I said, he's progressed really well over these last few days, Jamie. So no, we haven't earmarked the game yet, but he's progressing really well, Ian, and we'll look more closer into that next week.
Different striker, Iosi Perez, or different front man, isn't he? Certainly to Jamie Vardy. You mentioned it after Everton. Of course, there's not many strikers in Europe like Jamie Vardy. How do the rest of your team have to adapt to that fact, to the fact that your talismanic front man's not there? Iosi Perez plays in a different way. How does everybody else have to change and adapt to that?
Well, thankfully, I've got really bright players, really creative players. Our idea is always to penetrate. We're always looking to get in behind teams. And of course, when you have Jamie central, then we clearly can do that. But it's something where Io brings something else. His strength is playing in the space, which he's incredible at. Like I say, him and James Maddison, when you have those gaps and you can find them in the team, they can get turned and they take you forward in a different way. So you may just have to connect the game with an extra pass or two in order to penetrate central, but we still have real speed and quality on the sides. But the change is that you may, instead of maybe getting up there in one pass, you may have to connect it with 2 or 3 passes before you can arrive in behind centrally.
He seems to have knuckled down a lot, Brendan Iosi Perez. I'm sure he missed a few squads, let alone starting 11s, and clearly you had your reasons for that. But he seems to have come back with renewed energy and opportunity, and really seems to have taken it in a positive way and refocused. Is that a fair comment, do you think?
Yeah. I just think it's he's a terrific player for us. It's been unfortunate for him this season, where he maybe hasn't been able to influence as many games as he would have liked. But it tells you everything about his attitude. You see him in the game the other night, the work rate, the intensity he put into the game. And he was just unfortunate. The ball never dropped for him. in those big games where it's tight, you're just waiting for something to drop or have it created for you, and that didn't quite happen. But he was part of a really good performance, and he'll have gained confidence from that. And I've got no doubt that if opportunities arrive for him, that he's got real composure on his finish. So, but yeah, it's a real testament to his professionalism and his concentration and his spirit, that he kept fighting, kept working, and he'll take these opportunities, I'm sure.
You've discussed the transfer window, Brendan, and I think you've made it quite clear what the situation is regarding trying to bring players in and where you are. I wonder what this window's like to operate within. January windows, I know, aren't particularly favourable to buying clubs at the best of times, amidst COVID, amidst no fans. What's the window like, do you think?
Well, I think in terms of where we're at in the world with the pandemic and the financial situation, I think it's a tough window for virtually every team. As a manager, you don't want to lose players because you can't, especially if you can't get players in. So you're obviously having to look at your squad closely, and the likes of ourselves, we've had a really good first part of the season, and we aim to continue with that over the second part. And in particular, you need a really strong squad. So if you can't get players in, you're obviously reluctant to let any go out, because with the games coming so thick and fast, you need to be sure that you have the players available.
What's it like preparing to face Leeds, Brendan? Because we saw in the away game, their start was interesting to watch, but it was overly keen, and we know that they've really got one way of playing. It's an incredible intensity, pressing hard, pressing quickly. What's it like to plan to play them?
It's really enjoyable. I really enjoy. I looked to the first game when we played them. They were coming off the back of some great results. Marcello's teams I've obviously followed over this last decade or so, and they always play an exciting brand of football. So and the style is something that you don't see virtually at all in the Premier League, where it's at least up to 8 players man-to-man marking. So so that in itself, it's great from a coaching perspective, just to look at them. And now I'm obviously a big admirer of Marcelo Bielsa, and of course the job that he's done there, and how the team have come up, played with no fear. They play in a really respectful way. I think if you watch them, they're not arguing with referees so much. They've great integrity in the game. And like I say, they want to create goals and score goals. So yeah, I've enjoyed watching them and preparing to play against them. And of course, we had a very, very good victory. But we know we're going to have to work and play equally as hard and well to gain another win.
Finally, from me, Brendan, and I appreciate you agreeing before the press conference to discuss this with us. The Celtic chief executive has retired after 17 years today, Peter Lawwell. I wonder whether you've got a comment on him, a message in him stepping down, and ultimately what he did for the football club.
Yeah, well, I think, Peter, I was obviously aware when I was there of what the long-term plan would be, and I knew at some point over the next few years that would be the case. I think you only need to look at how Celtic is run as a business, and you look at the figures behind that to see the great job that Peter has done there. He's a huge Celtic supporter himself. He loves the club. He has a real passion for Celtic. So it'll be a sad day for him in the day that he does eventually retire. But he'll always be a Celtic supporter. He's done a fantastic job from the business side, giving great stability there to the club. And you look at their bank balance, and as I said, they run extremely well. So yeah. It's a long time to be chief executive at one club, but he's done a fantastic job, and of course it'll be he'll step aside, and there'll be someone else to come in and take on the mantra.
Appreciate your time. Good luck at the weekend against Leeds, Brendan.
Thanks, Ian. Thank you.
Okay, thanks everybody. We'll draw the broadcast section there, and we'll move on to the daily. So thank you for our broadcast colleagues for now.